Hey, this is Kyle is Wonderful here with another wrestling review. This time it's Impact Wrestling from June 23rd, 2022. And this is the first show after the Slammiversary pay-per-view. I thought it was a great pay-per-view. You can go find I have a 2.5 hour review. I have been watching when it was then called NWA TNA since March of 2004, 2004 March. So definitely go look at that review. It was the entire pay-per-view was a tribute to the 20 years of TNA slash Impact Wrestling history. So I was definitely able to give you a lot of insight on that, being a fan since 2004 of this company. So pretty good overall. The Queen of the Mountain match, by far my favorite match of the Slammiversary pay-per-view. Deanna Purrazzo and Chelsea Green took a nasty, like almost 20-foot fall from a ladder through a table. The table disintegrated, barely broke their fall, and somehow they were able to show up tonight on tonight's show without looking like they were limping too bad. So wow. Great X Division match, Ultimate X match, I should say. The Monsters Ball was surprisingly well. The main event, while a little underwhelming on who was in it, it ended up being a pretty fun match, especially for someone like me who's watched 20 years of TNA. And that match was a complete tribute with tons of signature moves and finishers from famous wrestlers of the past. So let's get into tonight's show. Again, you can go find that Slammiversary review on my channel. But yeah, tonight's show starts. We hear Mike Tenay's voice as we get highlights from Slammiversary. So cool to hear Mike Tenay's voice first thing tonight. Within the package, we saw Speedball Mick Bailey. He won the Ultimate X match and the X Division title. We saw Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary won the Knockouts tag titles. The Good Brothers won the tag titles. Davey Richards was the mystery opponent, and a disappointing to almost everybody. Davey Richards was the mystery partner for TNA. TNA was able to beat Honor No More through all kinds of tomfoolery and stuff, which, of course, Honor No More is going to spend most of tonight complaining about that, so we'll get there. We see Jordan Grace winning the Knockouts title in the Queen of the Mountain match, definitely my match of the night. And then Josh Alexander retained in the main event, retaining the Impact title over Eric Young. So that was a pretty good recap video there. Even though I watched the pay-per-view, I still enjoyed that recap video. Honor No More is already on their way out to the ring. They've got the full crew. So everybody that was in the match, including Kenny King, who didn't get to be in the 10-man tag, he was in the Ultimate X match and came up short. But anyway, all of Honor No More is here. And quick side note, I know you guys have probably noticed this before, but the Honor No More music definitely made by and features some of the same chords and musical elements as the Decay song. So if you've never noticed that, next time Honor No More is coming out, just start singing like the and it completely fits if you sing the Decay song over the Honor No More music. It's so similar. Anyway, um Mike Bennett hijacks a camera from the cameraman, so they don't have any Impact people. That was their point. They didn't even want an Impact cameraman in the ring with them. So they're all out here mad. Honor No More is. And really, I'm over this group already. This is not really how I wanted to start the show. So we'll see what happens here. Eddie Edwards talks, and he says the seemingly never-ending feud with TNA, and those are my thoughts exactly. I can't wait for this feud to end. But he's talking about the big TNA celebration. Eddie was pissed about that. Eddie Edwards makes fun of Nashville. He says TNA didn't win, Honor No More didn't lose. This is very boring. Eddie says PCO failed them. Everybody turns toward him, but Vincent gets on the mic. He says he brought PCO back to life for Honor No More, not TNA. They bring up all the interference, Tracy Brooks, D'Lo Brown, Earl Hebner being the referee to count the pin. I note that these guys have pure X-Pac go away heat, like not heel heat where you want to see them lose. You just don't want to ever see them again. Yeah, instead of like I said, Taven then whines on the mic and he says he didn't kill ROH, he saved Impact. And that goes back to Taven was being pushed heavily at the end of ROH's lifetime, including winning a big match at Madison Square Garden for the ROH title. A lot of people that were fans of Ring of Honor hated that moment and continue to blame Matt Taven to this day for the reason Ring of Honor's out of business. It's kind of like you can't put it all on one man, but I kind of get where they're coming from, and I do like that they're making that part of the storyline here. So basically, Taven's saying like, I didn't kill ROH, I saved Impact, like by having ROH get killed and coming over to Impact. I guess he's saying pretty interesting there. But America's Most Wanted music hits now. So both James Storm and Wildcat Chris Harris come out, and Storm says, um, this is just the same dog and pony show we've seen many times before, just different faces. I definitely agree with him on that. There's definitely been people coming in wanting to take out Impact, and then Impact Originals having the rally. It's not the first time we've seen this storyline. Kenny King says there's nothing more useless than a washed up drunk cowboy. Harris tells Kenny King that he's going to make him cry harder than he did on The Bachelorette, which that was pretty funny. I knew that Kenny King was on The Bachelorette, a TV show on ABC a few years ago. I knew that part, but I did not know that Kenny King was crying on there. So that's funny to bring up. America's Most Wanted says that they've made some new friends. So the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows, come out seemingly as baby faces, even though they're normally heels. The four of them rush Honor No More, but the numbers is still on Honor No More's side. I think it's 6-4. So the Briscoes run down to make the save, and No More lose the exchange and retreat. So what if you didn't watch the pay-per-view, what Storm was saying about making new friends is, and like the whole reason that like, the Good Brothers are out here with the people they just feuded with, the Briscoes, is after the Good Brothers beat the Briscoes, and I don't think there was any cheating or anything. I think they just beat them straight up. After that match, James Storm came down with Wildcat Chris Harris and a 6-pack of beer, handed the beer to everyone. They all celebrated with the beer. So that's kind of where this comes from, where America's Most Wanted, Good Brothers, and Briscoes are now forming a team. So overall, I don't like that the Honor No More stuff is still going on, but you got to look at the event schedule for Impact. Their next big event, it's not a pay-per-view, it's on their Impact Plus streaming service, but it is like a special event, however you want to call it. But it is a week from Friday, as in now it's Friday because it's past midnight where I'm at. So there was only 2 Impacts, tonight's and next week's, before their next main big event. So I was kind of hoping for a little bit of a reset tonight, but definitely no reset tonight. It's continuing feuds and stuff going into another big event in only 2 weeks. So I guess that makes sense. We'll see what happens after the Against All Odds is the event on July 1st. It's a Friday. So now we go in the back. We see Giselle Shaw, and she's talking to Alicia. Alicia's bringing up how she got killed by Masha Slamovich on last week's Impact, and Alicia wasn't very happy about it and stuff. Giselle seemingly not getting along with Alicia here, and Alicia said she will go find people to form a team and take out Giselle. And I write here that might have been, seriously, no hyperbole. I'm not just trying to be over the top for over the top sake. That might have been one of the top 10 worst acted segments I've ever seen in over 30 years of wrestling. No joke. Like, Giselle and Alicia cannot talk whatsoever. Them having a conversation here in the back was so bad. It was one of the worst acted segments I've ever seen. Anyway, we go to an ad break after that. When we come back, we're in the back. Honor No More is yelling at Scott D'Amore. Scott seemingly is pretty happy with himself and the way that Impact's been messing with these guys. So Scott says, Honor No More, it seems like they bit off a little bit more than they could chew, and that, oh, it must have been a fluke. So against all odds, I'll give you another opportunity. It'll be another 10-man tag. Honor No More versus the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows, the Briscoes, Mark and Jay, and they'll team with James Storm. So no Wildcat Chris Harris. The Honor No More is not excited about that, and neither am I. It's almost the exact same thing that we've been getting. They tell us that PCO's out of this match and Kenny King's in, so they've made a substitution from their last 10-man tag, and it definitely looks like they're going. They just finished the 10-man tag with, basically, they called them the TNA Originals, but it was more along the lines of X Division guys, and now they're going to be fighting tag team guys. So I'm assuming after all, against all odds, that they'll have one more 10-man tag, potentially a 12-man tag, so they can have all 6 of them. But I'm guessing that one will be against like main eventers slash Impact champions. Now that they're doing, like, they did the X Division already, now they're doing the tag team. So potentially not the only 10-man tag. I hope so. I hope this is over with. But if I had to guess, that's where they're going to go next. So maybe like a Josh Alexander and some of the other people who have won Impact title, Moose, Sammy Callahan, potentially. So some of those people might be next after this. And again, we're only got one more Impact after the one I'm reviewing right now, and then it'll be the Against All Odds. So excuse me. We're then told that Josh Alexander will defend the. Oh wait, no, I forgot to tell you tonight. Tonight's main event is going to be Bennett, Taven, and Eddie Edwards, and they'll fight the Briscoes and James Storm. So just like the stuff we saw against the X Division guys, the TNA Originals, they were having 6-man tags and tag teams and stuff like that before the 10-man tag, which made the 10-man tag even less effective, or however you want to put it, because we've already seen the 6-man tag version and stuff like that. So now it's just the 10-man tag version. So I don't like how they do that, but we'll find out how good that match is later on, and if it ruins a match that we don't even really care about to begin with at all, Against All Odds. So we're also told that Josh Alexander will defend the Impact title at Against All Odds against Joe Doring. So another feud that doesn't really. This is kind of the same feud that Josh Alexander already has been in. If you remember, he was feuding with Violent by Design and their leader Eric Young. Now he'll just switch over to Joe Doring, who potentially could be a bigger test for, while Eric Young is in a TNA original, and it made more sense for Eric Young to be in that match at Slammiversary than Joe Doring. Joe Doring could potentially be the tougher opponent, much younger than Eric Young, much bigger, much stronger. So that should be a decent match. I'm looking forward to that match. So I'm not upset that this storyline isn't over with. And they do a pretty good job of explaining the storyline later and having some intrigue about it. So we're told that Josh Alexander will fight Cody Deaner later tonight. So we'll see how that goes. Chelsea Green is now out, and she's accompanied by Deonna Purrazzo. So this is what I was talking about. These two took a giant fall off of a taller than usual ladder all the way to the outside through a table. I think it was only one table. Maybe there was 2 stacked up. There should have been 2 stacked up, because it looks like they just completely hit the floor without the table really breaking their fall whatsoever. So really, really painful looking spot. You can go find it online. I also saw fan footage from captured from their cell phones from the angle of right where they fall, like having them fall right into your lap, basically. And that one looked even scarier than the nasty looking version we saw on the pay-per-view. So holy crap. But I think this was only taped a day or two after the Slammiversary pay-per-view. So the fact that Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo are able to even walk out here a couple days after that 20-foot fall off a ladder is ridiculous. I can't believe they can walk. But anyway, Deonna goes over the commentary. Chelsea Green is going to have to wrestle. And Deonna says that she's all right. She'll live, when she was asked about how she's feeling. Mia Yim is going to be Chelsea Green's opponent. She's out with a really great entrance with the dancing people with masks and stuff. Really cool. Mia was the one that actually pushed that ladder over to knock Deonna and Chelsea out. So it makes sense that they're fighting here. The match starts out super fast. Really good start to this match. We get a lot of counters. So great start to this match, actually. And Chelsea takes control with a stomp, and then they fight outside the ring. Chelsea gets suplexed on the mat outside, which really had to hurt after that ladder fall. She cannot be feeling good today. And we go to an ad break. So when we come back, Mia Yim's in control in the ring. But Chelsea Green's able to fight back. And I make a quick side note here. I do like Deonna Purrazzo a lot. I like her character. I like her wrestling. I like her look. Her promos are pretty good too. As I hear a lot of people online saying she's just got some of the best promos and stuff like that. And I do agree she has a good cadence. She can talk and stuff like that. And my problem comes to something she can't control herself. Like me, I can't control how my voice sounds. You might think my voice sounds annoying. But for me personally, I can't stand Deanna Prazo's voice. Her voice always sounds like she's on the verge of about to tear up and cry. If you so it's very, very whiny, and there's like a tinge of like she's about to cry at any moment when she's talking, which really, really grinds my gears. So because of that, I don't enjoy Deanna Prazo talking. And like I said, that's no fault of her own. I mean, I guess she could change her voice, but who wants to use a fake voice for their entire career? So that's neither here nor there. Just a kind of a personal thing. Maybe you don't even have any problem with her voice, but yeah, next time she's talking, just take note of how it sounds like she's on about to start crying and having a mental breakdown. Um, but Chelsea gets put in the tarantula on the ropes to Jiri style by Mia Yim, but again Chelsea's able to fight back. Deanna and Chelsea Green have seemingly have come closer now after the ladder match. They had been forming an alliance, but they seem to be the fall that they took together must have brought them even closer together now. So Chelsea's able to wear down Mia Yim with some holds in the ring, but can't put her away. Mia rallies behind the cheers of the crowd. The crowd's really into Mia Yim. She hits one of that flipping cannonball like KO does to the corner. Almost gets a win off of that. Chelsea Green battles back with double knees and another stomp, but Mia Yim is able to kick out. Mia hits a nice back suplex for a near fall. Mia hits a sit down power bomb, and Chelsea's able to kick out at like 2.8. Super close near fall there. Chelsea's definitely in trouble. And Chelsea like grabs the ref, like, oh, I'm hurt, referee. And so Deanna knocks Mia off the top rope. Deanna Purrazzo does. Mickey James then runs down to chase after Deanna. Mia Yim then counters an unprettier attempt by Chelsea Green into a really bad and botched looking eat defeat for the win. There looked like no impact on that eat defeat whatsoever. And I know Mickey James is a babyface and a legend, but I'm kind of feeling like I kind of want to see Mickey James get beat up by Deanna and Chelsea pretty soon here. uh, I don't know if you guys have the same feeling, but it's just Mickey James has kind of been annoying lately. And the fact that she like took it upon her. I understand you have this rivalry with Chelsea Green, but you look like you're a heel when you go and stop Chelsea from winning the ladder match when all you're supposed to be doing is being the special enforcer. So I get that. I was fine with Mickey James kicking Savannah Evans out of the match, even though I wish Savannah Evans would have just punched Mickey James in the face and stayed, because what are they going to do? Disqualify Tasha because didn't leave? Like there's no rules in a Queen of the Mountain match. So that was a little weird, but the fact that Mickey James then pulled Chelsea Green off the ladder, yes, I understand. Chelsea Green turned heel and was tormenting Mickey James, but still. So now we got Gia, the interviewer woman, and she's in the back with the influencers. And if you guys didn't know, Gia is actually the girlfriend of Ace Austin. Anyway, Gia is in the back with the influencers. That's Madison Rain and Tennille Dashwood, aka Emma. And Madison has like a bandage over her nose. She's saying like, "Oh yeah, my nose got broken." They argue over how they hit their heads and whose fault it was. In my opinion, it was whoever put the match together. It looks like maybe that was something they planned. But if you remember going back to that match on Slammiversary, it ended, or near the ending, it was Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary both hitting a big spear on the two influencers, and the two influencers hit the back of their heads, or seemingly maybe Madison Rain hit her nose on the back of the head. I don't know how that would have happened if because they were kind of back to back and they both got speared, so they both went to like a laying position that obviously like as their heads fling back from a spear. I don't know if that was what they planned, but it looked, maybe I'm getting worked, but it looked like it was a botch and they kind of really got hurt. So they might just be turning it into a storyline here. Anyway, they're arguing over why Madison Rain got her nose broken and how they hit heads and whose fault it was. Giselle Shaw interrupts the interview and Giselle says that she can help them. Giselle has zero acting abilities and it's completely painful to watch. And Madison Rain is just about almost as bad. So at all these Giselle backstage interviews are really bringing the show down this week. We got an ad break. When we come back, it's Bhupinder Gojar, and he's out now. He'll team with Shark Boy, who the crowd is really cheering on. Shark Boy was the winner of the Reverse Battle Royal in the pre-show and the countdown show for the Slammiversary event. and already in the ring is Johnny Swinger and Zicky Dice. So we got a little impromptu match coming out of the Reverse Battle Royal. They show a little bit of Shark Boy's win at Slammiversary. So Shark Boy and Swinger start the match, but then I noticed that Gujar looks a little bit like Santos Escobar if you just glance at him, which he's kind of got like the same body type and hair and even skin color. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Gujar and Zicky Dice get in. Gujar gets the better of Zicky. Shark Boy and Swinger then get back in. Shark Boy bites him on the butt. So you can see what kind of match we're getting here. Zicky Dice gets in and he gets 10 punches in the corner from Shark Boy, ending with a bite on the face. Swinger then throws his body in the corner to block Zicky Dice from getting hurt. That was a pretty cool move. Shark Boy hits a stunner. Gujar hits a big spear, and they get the win, Shark Boy and Gujar. And as soon as the match ends, Joe Doring and Cody Deaner, two members of Violent by Design, run out. They beat up all four men. Cody Deaner gets on the microphone and calls out Josh Alexander. And we've got another person who can't talk on this Impact. Cody Deaner can't talk whatsoever. So many people that can't talk are talking tonight, bringing the show down big time. We got an ad break. When we come back, it's literally just a second after we left for break. You can completely tell, like, Cody Deaner's calling out Josh Alexander. Then we go to a break. And then when we come back from a couple-minute break, Cody Deaner's in the exact same position. And then Josh Alexander comes out. So I thought that was a little botched. Obviously, we're not watching live, but it's never good to come back on the exact frame you left on, which was a little awkward anyway. Cody Deaner didn't think Josh Alexander would show. Josh asks, what is this all about? What do you want? So Deaner talks a little bit more. He sounds like a villain from a 1980s Saturday morning cartoon, which isn't a good thing because those guys were over the top and cheesy and borderline cringe if you look at it nowadays. But I guess if you take it for what it is, it's kind of funny. He puts over how good Joe Doring is. That's Cody Deaner talking. And Josh and Doring are staring each other down. Deaner says last time Josh was in the ring with Joe Doring, Josh lost. He said to embrace the fact that Violent by Design accomplished their mission by winning the Impact title. And he's talking about Joe Doring at the Against All Odds event in a week's time. Josh yells at them. His yelling is much better than when Josh talks. So I definitely think Josh Alexander needs to stick with the yelling promos as opposed to just a regular promo. Another person who struggles to talk and with any confidence or conviction. So the yelling from Josh much better than his talking. So Josh says nobody's seen or heard from EY since he beat him, and this kind of rattles Deaner a little bit, bringing up the fact that EY's not here. Doring knocks down Josh, and the two men beat up Alexander. Josh has to fight Deaner later tonight. Security comes down, but Doring is able to take down all the security guards. This buys time for Josh to get up, and he throws both of the Violent by Design guys out of the ring. So now Joe Doring's pissed. He destroys even more security guards. Cody Deaner's able to talk Doring down and tells him to go to the back. And then apparently that match is now. So it's going to be Cody Deaner versus Eric Young. Joe Doring went to the back. A referee appears and the bell rings as Josh puts on his headgear. So, like I said, Doring went to the back. This is a decent match here, better than you would have thought. But Josh obviously is dominating. Deaner is showing some toughness. However, his character definitely showing some toughness. He's getting destroyed here, but he keeps on getting back up and fighting. Deaner gets a rope break on an ankle lock, and then it gets a cheap shot on Josh. So it looks like maybe Deaner can get something put together here. But no, Josh Alexander puts him right back in the ankle lock. Cody Deaner taps out. And we're told that Josh is going to defend in 8 days against Joe Doring. So we've got one more Impact before the Against All Odds event next Friday. So Gia is in the back again, this time with Frankie Kazarian. Kaz says that Slammiversary was great. A normal person would be satisfied with that, but I'm not a normal person. He wants to pick right back up where he left off before Honor No More interfered. So if you remember, that was that whole storyline got kicked off by Kaz and Sabin having a match together. And of course, what Kaz was talking about was exactly that. So he challenges Kaz, being he challenges Chris Sabin to a match next week. So that should be good. The whole reason that they were having a match to begin with before Honor No More came in is that back in the day, Kaz and Sabin, who have been in TNA since 2003, they both at the time came in with like the future gimmicks. Like their nicknames were the future. So now that they're old men and and whatnot, they want to battle over who the truly was the future. Kind of weird on that, but still a decent premise, especially for I like that when they call back the things that I watched 20 years ago or 18 years ago, whatever it was. So that's cool with me for sure. And we'll get that match next week. So when we come back from an ad break, we see Jordan Grace, and it's backstage right after Slammiversary, seemingly right after she won the title. So cool here, but um, unfortunately for Jordan, she's got her hair disheveled, her lipstick smeared everywhere, there's sweat all over the place. Quite the image. But she definitely is the kind of person who would take pride in that kind of image. Like it shows that she legitimately worked hard for that title, which she did. Jordan Grace gives props to everyone in the match and even thanks Tasha. We go straight from that. Again, that was recorded right after the event at Slammiversary, or right after her match, I should have said. And this one is looks to be taped whenever they taped Impact, and it's Tasha now. Tasha Steeles is standing next to Savannah Evans in the back, and she says, "Don't thank me. At Against All Odds, I get my Knockout World title back. Since you think you're the strongest woman on the roster, you can face the most savage woman on the roster, Savannah Evans." So I think that match will be next week because it wasn't tonight. And then Tasha does the Cardi B occur thing, which was really annoying, and that segment ends. So Sammy Callahan's out next. He'll take on jobber Jack Price, and we're told that Jack Price co-won the latest gut check competition. So we might be seeing more of Jack Price in the future, but right here, complete jobber, no entrance or anything. And we're told that he's from Michigan, which is where I'm from, so that's pretty cool. And the announcers put over Sammy Callahan's big win over Moose in the Monsters Ball. They kind of gave Moose a little bit of an excuse to explain why Moose lost by saying Moose was definitely not comfortable with the 24 hours of darkness and no water or food, where Sammy Callahan thrived in that darkness, no food, no water for 24 hours before the match. So they did give Moose a little bit of a out, if you want to put it that way, for his loss, which was pretty good. I like that they did that. The crowd really loves Sammy Callahan. I still can't understand why. He just looks like the smelliest guy in the world with no redeeming qualities, but Sammy Callahan is loved by this Impact crowd. I say that, but that doesn't mean I think Sammy Callahan's a bad wrestler. He is a good wrestler and stuff. He can cut a good promo as well, but um definitely I think of him more as a heel. Sammy wins this match easily. Again, it was the jobber Jack Price he was facing with the Cactus Driver, 97 pile driver. And Moose runs out, hits a massive spear on Sammy, who didn't see it coming. We get a chair to Sammy's back. Moose then puts Sammy through a table with a Uranagi, and Moose walks off to a ton of booze. So this is definitely not over between those two. And I'm assuming Moose will win the next match because they told us that Moose only lost because of the darkness for 24 hours thing. So in the back, that segment was done. Now we're in the back. Good Brothers tell the Briscoes that they'll have their back tonight. Wildcat Chris Harris wants to go out too, but Storm makes him promise to go home. Storm doesn't want Harris involved in any of this, and it was kind of out of the blue. But like Storm was trying to bring it back to like, well, Harris, you turned on me in the past, and you shouldn't get involved in all this craziness. So I'm pretty sure this means that Chris Harris will be turning heel at some point soon. So look forward to maybe another Cowboy James Storm Chris Harris match before the end of their careers. I'm okay with that. They were like the first great tag team in TNA history, and they also had a really good rivalry, other than the damn infamous blindfold match. So we go to ad break after that James Storm segment, or I guess it was all of them, Good Brothers telling Briscoes they have their back, and uh, Wildcat being told to go home. So we go to ad break, and we come back. Gail Kim and her plastic face runs into Sammy Callahan, and Sammy wants all this to end. And he's yelling at Gail Kim, so Gail Kim's yelling back at him. And Gail says, "What more do you want over a Monsters Ball? What could possibly be more violent than a Monsters Ball. And Sammy says he wants a Ravens Clockwork Orange House of Fun match, which makes sense. That was one of the few gimmick matches that we didn't get at the Slammiversary pay-per-view, so it makes sense that they went straight from a Monsters Ball to a Clockwork Orange House of Fun match. If you don't know what those are, that's Raven's specialty match, just like Monsters Ball was Abyss's specialty match. And the way, at least back in the day, the way Clockwork Orange House of Fun matches work is it's one of those hardcore matches where they have like ropes up, and on the ropes are a bunch of different weapons. So it's like a crazy weapons match, kind of like that one Dean Ambrose had where Mitch the Plant was on the cage over in WWE. So Gail has to wipe Sammy's spit because he's spitting as he's yelling in Gail's Kim face. So Gail Kim visibly has to like wipe it off her um face. That was pretty funny. So then we're told that next week we'll have a number one contenders match for the X Division title. It'll be Chris Bay, Macklin, Laredo Kid, and Trey Miguel. So really, really looking forward to that. If you saw my Slammiversary pay-per-view, when Chris Bay and Macklin were having some spots and eliminated each other in the reverse battle royal in the pre-show, I said, man, I feel bad that Macklin and Chris Bay couldn't get a singles match against each other on this Slammiversary pay-per-view. I understand they were trying to fit a lot in and stuff, but I think with all the gimmick matches and stuff, just another straight up one-on-one match on Slammiversary would have made the pacing feel a little bit better as opposed to going from one gimmick match to another gimmick match. And then Chris Bay and Macklin, I think, deserve to have had a pay-per-view match. But anyway, they'll have a match here, but unfortunately not alone. Laredo Kid and Trey Miguel will be there, so the winner of that will be the number one contender. And don't forget, Speedball Mike Bailey is the new X Division champion. So also next week, we'll see Ace Austin, the former X Division champion, and he'll fight Alex Zane. Now, this one has been building for over a month. If you guys are New Japan Pro Wrestling fans, you would have seen this whole story play out where Ace Austin and Alex Zane were both in the Best of the Super Juniors, a month-long tournament for the junior heavyweights. And at the end of this is when Ace Austin joined Bullet Club, which really upset Alex Zane, and that's kind of where this match is going to stem from. So we did see those two interact a little bit in the Ultimate X match at Slammiversary, but now getting them in a one-on-one match, that's even better. So that should be a great match. Also next week, we've got Giselle Shaw versus Rosemary and Sabin versus Kaz. So damn, next week looks way better than this week. I think there was another one they teased too. I think it was Jordan Grace versus Savannah Evans as well, which should be a pretty good match. They're both powerhouses. So Honor No More are now out for the main event. And like I said, this week, not nearly as cool as what next week sounds like. So our main event is that 6-man tag with Honor No More. So Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, and Eddie Edwards come out. They've got Maria with them, and just Maria, nobody else. The crowd boos them a lot, so they are definitely over as heels. But for me anyway, they give me X-Pac go away heat and not I want to see you get beat in a match kind of heat. The Briscoes are out first. Mark's going crazy with some high-fiving to the fans, and then right as the lights go out to James Storm's entrance. So that definitely had me wondering if Mark was like tripped over or something or what, because he was going nuts right at the barricade as the lights went out. That was really funny. Briscoes are definitely able to make this match worth watching. So as bad as like, oh, another 6-man tag with Honor No More sounds like, with the Briscoes being in it, there was a lot of energy, made the match worth watching, worth a look if you're an Impact fan. And I know too bad that Briscoes couldn't work more in TNA throughout their careers. If you remember, somewhere around like 2006, 2007, ROH and TNA stopped having a working agreement, and you had to choose whether you were going to be a wrestler for Ring of Honor or a wrestler in TNA. No longer could you do both. So the Briscoes stayed in ROH that entire time, and unfortunately meant we never got to see them in TNA until this year. So Storm brings the energy as well in this match. So really good opponents for Honor No More, who have kind of gotten stale in my mind, but this match was cool. Jay dives to all outside the ring onto all three. Then Mark goes on the top rope, hits a whisper in the wind, all three, and we go to ad break. So that was our final break of the night. When we come back, Storm's taking out all three on his own, so the faces are having their way here. But Mike Bennett hits a big forearm to stop Storm's momentum, throws Storm into the barricade, and now we get a bunch of quick tags by Honor No More to wear down James Storm. We get a really nice looking lion salt from Matt Taven. Storm's able to kick out. Even more quick tags by Honor No More as they continue to pick apart Storm. So Storm is in big trouble here. But Eddie Edwards plays to the crowd a little bit too much before a move. Storm is able to dodge it and tag out. Mark Briscoe comes in with a ton of fire. Jay joins him for a double team neckbreaker power bomb on Mike Bennett, but Taven's able to make the save on the pin. We get a triple team on Mark Briscoe now, but Mark is able to kick out at 2.5. Storm then in the save the triple team, another triple team attempt by Honor No More. Storm saves it. Mark hits a Death Valley driver and then goes up to the top rope, but Matt Taven's able to knock him off. We get a double team move by Eddie Edwards and Mike Bennett, and Mike Bennett pins Mark Briscoe for the 1-2-3. The crowd boos, and Honor No More continued to beat up the three men after the match. PCO, Vincent, and Kenny King also joined the beatdown. They were in the back. So the Good Brothers, who said that they've got your back to the Briscoes, Good Brothers, Doc Gallows, and Carl Anderson come down to make the save. But since their teammates were already knocked down, it was basically 6-on-2. So the Good Brothers also get beat down. Honor No More then throws in a bunch of chairs into the ring. And just like we saw recently with Heath and Rhino, Honor No More Pillmanized with chairs multiple times on Mark Briscoe's ankle. So Mark Briscoe has probably just been taken out. We'll see if he's able to compete against all odds. I'm assuming he will. They already why would they? Well, maybe this is what brings in Wildcat Chris Harris, and then we get the Chris Harris heel turn at Against All Odds when Chris Harris has to come in for Mark Briscoe. And if you remember earlier in this episode, Wildcat Cowboy James Storm told Wildcat Chris Harris that he didn't want him around, he didn't want him involved in this, and promised me that you'll go home. So I'm assuming Mark Briscoe, now being Pillmanized with the chairs from Honor No More, is going to be out injured for that match. They'll probably recruit Wildcat Chris Harris, and I'm assuming Wildcat Chris Harris will turn heel, giving Honor No More the win in that 10-man tag at Against All Odds. I could be wrong, but that's kind of how I'm feeling about it right now. After they Pillmanize Mark Briscoe's leg, I like this from Matt Taven. Matt Taven is yelling at Mark Briscoe that you made a mistake. You were one of us, but you joined them. So really good storytelling there. I kind of got interested in the story by the end of it. So I was really not looking forward to it when Honor No More came out to start this episode. But now that we have all these little pieces, they take out Mark. Now we've got the tease of the Wildcat heel turn and stuff like that. So Honor No More pose as Impact ends. And I'm not going to say this was an amazing episode of Impact. Kind of rough in spots. Like I said, they couldn't completely do a reboot with new stories yet, seeing that they only had 2 impacts before their next big event. So a lot of the storylines and rivalries continue from what we've already had. That's okay. You can make good things out of that. So like I said, the Honor No More stuff I kind of warmed up to as we went. It looks like maybe at the Against All Odds we'll get that Moose versus Sammy Callahan. They didn't officially say that'll be at Against All Odds, but I assume that's where it'll be in the Ravens Clockwork of House of Fun match. So that is going to be really good. The Tasha is going to get her chance to regain her title against Jordan Grace. That should be a good match. We didn't get to see them one-on-one since that was a Queen of the Mountain match at the pay-per-view. And Joe Doring has definitely a chance to beat. I think Joe Doring has a chance to beat Josh Alexander for the Impact title. Joe Doring is a monster. So really looking forward to that event. We'll find out next week what the X Division match for that will be. The number 1 contendership will be decided between Chris Bay, Macklin, Laredo Kid, and Trey Miguel. Any one of those 4 will be great competitors for Speedball Mike Bailey, who we did not get to see on this episode, and he's not advertised for next episode either. So that's a little bit unfortunate. Hopefully Speedball Mike Bailey will be at Against All Odds to defend against that number 1 contender. But the big match next week, make sure to tune in. Ace Austin versus Alex Zane, over a month of story that has been building up, and this is going to be a really good match. So that's pretty much all I got. I'll be back next week for the Impact next week. Look, like I said, that one looks way better. And then a night, as soon as I Impact next week, the very next night is Against All Odds. So not much time until that happens. So I'll be here to cover both of those events. If you missed my review about Slammiversary, I spent about 2.5 hours breaking everything down from a perspective of someone who's been watching Impact Wrestling since 2004. So thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys soon. You can try. I also do WWE, AEW, New Japan, NWA reviews on this channel. So if you're interested in those, you can check that out as well. And like I said, I'll be back here next week for Impact Wrestling. Thanks for tuning in and have a great day.